So you want to double into animation and you stumbled upon this software called OpenToonz, which is
absolutely free.
so you downloaded it, installed it, and when you opened it, you stared at the screen and you asked, what the hell is all this?
Well, consider your questions answered because I'm gonna show you a quick and easy guide on how to use the OpenToonz software. So let me get inside this laptop to show you how it works.
Whew. So welcome to OpenToonz. What you're looking at right now is the start screen. First and foremost, let's create a scene. By the way, if you're planning to create an animated short with multiple scenes, you can click New Project and type whatever file you fancy, and OpenToonz will create a set of folders exclusively for that project. For now, let's select Sandbox, and over here is where you can name your scene. So I'm gonna type Jump for mine. Let's set the camera size to 1920 by 1080p. Make sure to double check the resolution and make sure it's 16 by 9 and 1920 by 1080 on the resolution. You can change this, but this is the setting I usually do. Unit is inch and DPI is 120. I usually leave that on default. And to keep things simple, we're just gonna use the industry standard 24 frames per second. And once you've done all that, click Create Scene. Alright, this is the default interface of OpenToonz. You can keep it at this, but I do have my preferences. So let me just arrange it for a second. 1 second later. And there you go. So let me explain what these windows are. This big window is, as you can see, is the canvas where we will draw all the stuffs. This little strip at the left hand side is all our tools like the brush and the eraser. And further on the left is the color picker where we pick the colors we like. The bottom window is the color palette. More on that later. And this window on the right side is the X sheet, which is a shorter term for exposure sheet. It's like a timeline but in vertical format. I actually prefer this when I'm doing frame by frame animation because I can see the levels and I can click around it better compared to the horizontal timeline. That's pretty much the overview of the interfaces I use, and I bet you'd like to start drawing right now, don't you? Well, we can simply just select the brush tool and start drawing, but I would suggest creating a level first. In order to do that, you can right-click on the X sheet and select New Level. A new window will pop out and you can name the levels right here. And we can just set everything to default. For now, let's just use the Toonz raster layer for the type to keep it simple since you're just starting out. Why is this important? So, here's the thing. When we draw on the canvas, OpenToonz automatically creates a level if we didn't create one. And they usually just label it A, B, or C, or whichever alphabet they're in. Imagine if you're creating a project that has multiple scenes, multiple characters, multiple animations, etc. and you didn't create the levels on your own. It's gonna get confusing very fast. Especially if you need to reuse an animation from a different scene. So, it's really for organizational purposes, and it's gonna save you a lot of headaches. I usually name the levels this way. Scene name, character name, what kind of drawing is it, and the number or letter if you prefer that. So in this project, I'm gonna name this level Jump, Jumpman because that's the name of the character, Roughs because we are going to do rough animation first, and 1 in case we need to do a number 2. And here we go. If you notice at the bottom, the palette window added in some colors. So this color palette is exclusive to this level only. I want to draw in red, so I'm gonna add a new color by right-clicking and selecting New Style. In order to change the color, we can just go to the color picker window and select whatever color we like. Now we can start drawing. You can draw whatever you want, but if you're following it step by step, I'm gonna draw a simple jumping animation. By the way, I'm not gonna draw all of it in real time, so if you like to follow, I'm gonna show a frame by frame animation of it later on. Alright, first pose done. Now I want to hold this pose for half a second. So in order to do that, we're going to drag this little rectangle right here, and that will extend the frame. I'm extending it to frame 12. Take note, you have to precisely click and drag that rectangle to extend the frames. You can click it here or here or here. It's not gonna work. Only in that particular area, okay? So now to do the next frame, you can select frame 13 and draw there, and OpenToonz will automatically create a new drawing on the same level. You can also use Shift plus comma to go to the previous frame or Shift plus period to go to the next frame. So let's do the next frame. I do want to see the previous frame while I draw this, so let's hover to the side of the X sheet, and as you can see, there's a circle appearing right over there. That is the onion skin. Let's click this and a dot will appear, which means that this frame will show on the current frame we're working on. If you want to remove the onion skin, just simply click the dot and it will be gone. Alright, so let me just do this second frame. By the way, if you want to change shortcuts, you can just click File and Configure Shortcuts. For the next frame, I want to add an in-between on frame 10. Let's delete these frames first. To select multiple frames, simply click on the frame and hold shift to which frame you'd like to select and hit the delete button. We turn on onion skin by clicking this side. Red for the previous frame and green for the next frame. Alright, so we can start drawing again on the blank frame. Now we have 3 frames which show the character getting ready to jump. What I did here is an animation principle called anticipation. Let's continue this and draw the rest of the jump. While this speed drawing is going, I just want to do a quick rundown of the tools. For now, we'll just be using brush, eraser, and selection tools. We'll deal with the other tools in the future videos, so be sure to smack the subscribe button and get notified. Let's discuss these toolbars up top. So for the brush tool, the first option you'll see is the size slider. If you notice, there are 2 sliders. It actually applies to pen pressures. So min means the smallest brush size on light pressure and max is the biggest brush size on heavy pressure. On the right of that is a hardness slider which adjusts the hardness of the brush. Here's the difference between 0 hardness and 100 hardness. Further on the right is the smoothness slider, and it is helpful if you have shaky hands like me. It corrects the line so it doesn't look jaggedy. The rest of the tools, don't worry about it for now and just keep it on default. The eraser only has size and hardness sliders. The other things, again, don't worry about it for now. The third tool is the selection tool, and the thing you have to pay attention to in the toolbar is the type. There are 3 types of selection tools. The first one is the rectangle, where it will create a rectangular selection if you click and drag. The second is the freehand, where you can select whatever shape you've drawn. And the third is the polyline, where you click points and it will create a line from one point to another until it forms a shape. I usually just use the rectangle and freehand, and in case you're wondering why it's creating a rectangle rather than a freehand selection, just check the toolbar. By the way, you can also do copy paste here, and the shortcut is the same. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. And you can copy paste selected drawings and frames on the X sheet if you say you want to reuse a drawing at a different frame. So I'm just gonna pause the speed drawing here a bit because I want to show how to move drawings to a different frame. So I copied frame 1 here by using the ye old copy and paste shortcut. I want to move it like 3 frames away from the previous frame so I can do an in-between. In order to move the frame, select the frames you'd like to move and drag this darker colored bar on the side of the frame. As you can see, I can move it back and forth. Please note that you can only move the frames by clicking and dragging this bar on the side. You can't click it on the center because it will only select the X sheet. So, keep that in mind. Alright, let's continue. Alright, here's the animation I've made. You can pause the video to check each drawing up close. So, frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and then we loop back to frame 1. It's just a simple jump animation. So to play this, we're just gonna click the play button or press P. There we go! And we can click this little button right here to loop the animation, and it will just play over and over endlessly.
The next step is doing details and adding cleanup and color. So if you're ready to proceed, just click this video right here.